What's going on, guys? It is the Zoomer Value Investor here to talk to you today about something a little different. I want to talk to you guys more about the saving and investing side of what we're doing here with investing. This is a really interesting article I want to bring to y'all's attention. I think it's a great teachable moment here. On Paycheck to Paycheck, I make $350K a year, but I have $88K in student loans, $170K in car loans, and a mortgage I pay $4,500 a month on. Do I need professional help? It says I'm the first of my generation to own a home and the first one to earn this much annually, and I don't want to mess this up. How specifically can a financial advisor help me? So this is very interesting, right? Here we have a lady, she's the breadwinner of the household, making $350K a year. Quite an exceptional salary. That is certainly an outlier salary. When you consider that the median income in the United States is closer to $50,000, maybe high estimate, it definitely sets one thing off of my mind. This lady does something special for a living. This lady, as the breadwinner of the household, she does something hard, something incredible, I'm sure. So my two first guesses are, number one would be she does something very healthcare specialized. So that would be either she's probably a surgeon, so she could be a surgeon, so she's like the epitome of patient care in the healthcare aspect of things. You know, surgeons don't typically work 40-hour weeks, but when they are at work, they're working really hard. And in between all the studying they gotta do and all that to stay on top of their game, you gotta give the surgeons credit where credit's due, that they're hardworking people. So my other thought in that kind of healthcare kind of space is she could be in chemical development. For example, some of the people involved in vaccine development and things of that nature, they can get paid lucrative salaries such as this. My first guess was either she's way up on patient care or pharmaceutical, chemical, etc. My second guess would be she's got a software tech salary. Anyway, all that aside, let's talk about what we're talking about here. How do you make $350,000 and then you're telling me you're paycheck to paycheck? Why don't you have money to save? Why don't you have money to invest? She gets into some nitty-gritty here. She says $88,000 left on student loans, and she says she has two auto loans at a 5% interest rate that totaled her for a $170K bill. Gotta keep in mind that $350,000 is probably a before-tax number. Let's say it's a post-tax number. Hypothetically, if she did pay off her two electric car loans and she paid off all of her student debt, she still would have a lucrative $92,000 left over. Now, honestly, this is where I start to see the chinks in her consumer logic. It just doesn't make sense, and it's not great for the long term. And yes, I do think this lady does need some type of financial oversight from a certified professional, or even better, a close family or friend who is great with this type of stuff. If you have $92,000 left over after you've already made two lucrative electric car purchases and you still feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck, I got news for you. I mean, we just highball estimate the median US salary at $50K and you're blowing $92K. There's something in those $92,000 that's just not, it's being destructive and you don't understand that potentially. So my question is, how much of that $92,000, how much do you, beautiful audience, believe that could possibly be on more wants and not needs? So we've already seen the cars, but in that $92,000, I reckon there's restaurants, there's clothes, vacations, subscriptions. I know that's a big one nowadays in the modern world, those subscription models. Anyway, there's just something in those $92,000 that I would personally recommend that lady delves really deep into and then starts by getting really conservative there. You've already kind of put yourself into a liability with the cars. Cars, when you purchase them, there's a saying, when you drive them off the lot, they're going to be worth less than when you stepped onto the lot. And that's because cars are depreciating assets. I encourage any one of you beautiful audience to go to maybe say a Ferrari dealership, Bugatti dealership, a very high-end dealership that may be near your area. If you haven't been around, those valuable of machinery before, such as like a Bugatti Veyron, or it definitely does kind of give you like a different perspective on life. You kind of start seeing things differently just by being in the aura, the essence of like that like epitome threshold of luxury and things, and in this example, luxury automobiles. But the thing you will notice about these vehicles is that almost all of them in the dealership, if they are used, they'll have no more than maybe a couple thousand miles on them. You go to your local CarMax or Carvana, and you're seeing these vehicles with like 100,000 miles, and it's like, almost every other vehicle. The point is, cars are liabilities. You've already locked yourself into 2 of them, so we can't really do much about that now. It's just a lesson. Let's look into the $90,000+. Look into that pool of money, see where that's going. The student loan debt is gone. We've paid for it. And then, just like, that's that $92,000, that's too much of a money to not be explaining what's happening with it. But yeah, personally what I think happened here is sometimes people go out and they buy the lifestyle before they can actually afford it. And what I mean by that is sometimes if you're just relying on that paycheck every time you get it, whether you're paid monthly, paid weekly, whatever it is, with regards to how your income is set up, it's just really important to avoid obtuse purchases, and specifically obtuse purchases on finance. There's an old saying, if you can't buy it twice, don't buy it. And that's for especially big purchases. For example, when this lady went out and got the 2 electric cars for $170,000 with the auto loan, could she afford 4 electric cars for $340,000 with the auto loan? No, she could not. So should she go out and get 2 electric vehicles with $170,000 with the auto loan? No, she should not do that. But this is the point. We can start to scale things back and make sense of things when we start to learn things like personal finance. Because personal finance is going to be so important in your journey, the same way that investing in equities and equity due diligence and all of those great things of nature that we will majority focus on this channel with. But I think this is just a great teachable moment here on the Zoomer Value Investor channel to maybe talk to the audience and just open up a discourse about how do you personally feel like personal finance is going, and do you feel like you're getting a good grasp and understanding about how this plays into the overall progress of things. To me, I personally view personal finance a lot like the gym. In investing, you're going to do great by doing a multitude of things well. If you invest well, you're going to have a higher interest rate than maybe most investors and a higher performance than most investors. If you contribute well, then you're probably going to have most contributions than most average investors who probably just have like an auto 5% 401k set up, or something of that nature. You're going to have a lot more ammunition than the average person out in the field does. And I'm talking about the whole lifetime. If you're contributing more, that stuff really does compound. It's like compound interest in and of itself. And see, it becomes a lot like the gym, because the gym is not just a matter of just going like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to like lift this heavy weight, and then all of a sudden I'm like super strong. Or I'm going to go like jump really a lot, and then eventually I'm going to jump higher and jump like better. It's not a one-sided equation, because you have to do all that stuff and you have to do it routinely, etc., etc. But then you also have to do like diet, sleep, maintenance of your muscles and injuries, etc. So the accumulation of wealth and the wealth process through investing, I just want to really reiterate, it's a two-pronged equation, multi-pronged equation, but you kind of could compound it into two things. How well are you investing, and how well are you personal financing and contributing? One last thing I really want to point out, I do notice that she did have 2 electric cars, not combustion engine vehicles. And this is where we can start to scale things back, you see. So when I was saying if you can't buy it twice, don't buy it, she could start to ask herself and the family the question of like, well, I just got this great job and we're doing well and the money's starting to come in. Let's get an automobile for ourselves, instead of being like, oh, I'm going to get an automobile for myself and another person in the household, just like immediately that's where your thought process goes. Let's tone it back. So we've asked ourselves, can we afford the $170,000 automobiles with the auto loans, etc.? No, we can't. And we're asking ourselves this question, of course we couldn't. We couldn't afford that. So what we're going to do instead, we're going to get one electric vehicle for the $85,000 with the auto loan. Actually, you know what? Screw the auto loan. We're buying that. We're buying that $85,000 vehicle, maybe with a lower interest rate loan, because we can afford like the car a lot better. Or maybe we just have the $85,000 in cash. Maybe be best. In this case, if you just got this job or this role, I'm assuming you just don't have it in cash, so I definitely would go for the lower percent loan. I feel like you could probably swing it since you're not under as many liabilities, because you're not getting 2 cars, you're just getting 1. And then as far as the household, I'm sure you could finagle. If you're that opposed to combustion engine vehicles, yeah, you do have to pay for the gasoline. And I will note that electric cars, according to research, do appear to tolerate mileage better than combustion engine vehicles will. So we might be seeing within like 3 to 5 years from now that in general in the car markets, $100,000 on an electric vehicle might not quite be what $100,000 miles in wearage feels like on an internal combustion engine vehicle. But all that aside, I think it is very critical to note that yes, you could have afforded, one $80,000 electric vehicle. Yeah, treat yourself. I get it. And it's it's a purchase you really believe in. I myself would like to be driving electric in the next handful of years or so. So I get it, but you jumped the gun so much getting 2 electric vehicles. And it's for decisions like that you're now having to kind of like find yourself maybe with like a professional and just kind of like reassess. There are worse fates than being paycheck to paycheck, but it's just, obviously having to go through that process of like sorting your life out and sorting out your spending and really cutting back and seeing what you've been doing, what you have to cut back on. I mean, that could just be, no one likes to change up their lifestyle too drastically. But this, make a few tough decisions, save a bit of money, then you start saving, then you start investing, start seeing what that can do for you. I'm sure that will be what takes away a lot of that guilt and a lot of that kind of unsure feeling that you've had about yourself away. So this is why here at the Zoomer Value Investor channel, I really like to talk about how income does not equal wealth. So this is that lady's current investment plan from that MarketWatch article posted on October 22nd of this year. She's currently set up with an initial investment of $0 with a monthly contribution of $0. We're just 10-year time horizon investment, 2032. No specific reason on that time frame. Estimating 8% on an index fund, VOO. We calculate this, and in 10 years living this lifestyle this lady's been living, maybe she goes out and instead of spending that $170,000 on 2 electric cars, that $170,000 maybe goes into like a porch patio project on the house or something of that nature, just some other, maybe a vacation. If she lives that type of lifestyle for another 10 years and suddenly she doesn't want to work anymore or she wants to take some time for herself or anything of that nature, well, she will have this amount here that you're seeing on the screen. And that's why I'm making this video for y'all here today, because I'm just really trying to put it to y'all's perspective. No matter where you're at in your life, you could be doing as well as this lady's doing as far as income if you're watching this, or you could be doing closer to the number I threw out there. That's, the average, that's the median US income of $50K. So what if you are a $50K a year earner? And let's say you really, stick to a rent in a good, safe, low-cost area. You don't eat at luxurious restaurants too often. You bike or walk to most places. You don't deal with the car quite yet with your lifestyle, what your goals are, and things of that nature. Let's say in 1 year, you saved up $10,000 for yourself, or maybe over the course of a few years, you saved up, a few $1,000s each year for yourself, totaling up to $10,000. So whether you did it in 1 year from your $50K a year salary, or you did it over the course of a few years, we're just hypothetically saying you did get a $10,000 investment for yourself. What can this do for myself? Same scenario, 2032 investment time frame for no whatever reason, just for hypothetical reasons we're using 2032. 10-year horizon, 8% compounded annual interest rate in VOO, Vanguard S&P 500 index fund. I mean, I'm going to pull up the chart. What did the lady with the $350,000 income have? She had this. The person with the $50K a year income, what did she have at the end of our experiment? $21,589. If things get bad for whatever reason and you just need to live, at least you have some money to live. This is where we start to see the difference of what wealth is, wealth versus income. So our $50K a year earner does save up to $10K for an initial 1 year. And every year thereafter, that person goes, hey, I kind of actually do like this saving of money at my job. I'm going to structure it out where I am putting $1,000 into that market every month. So I'm effectively, over the course of the year, actively saving myself $12,000. I'm investing that $12,000 over the course of a year, and every single year over the course of the next hypothetical 10-year investment time horizon. So this $50K a year earner who is doing the monthly contribution, not just the lump sum, what will she end up with? Here we go, 8% interest rate in our VOO. Wow, look at that. This person in 10 years would have saved up $195,428. Absolutely incredible. Compound interest and some diligence towards compound interest can do for yourself. Let's say this 50K a year earner is a subscriber of the Zoomer Value Investor channel, and let's say that, you know, some of our deep value picks tend to do quite well, and we do closer to a 15% interest rate, you know, with some good buys and some good sells based on our, you know, our strategies and our methods, and being unemotional and being a really intelligent investor and very diligent to the process. And we actually, in this example, managed to get a 15% annual interest rate. So in this hypothetical example, our 50K a year income earner, they've read all the books. They've read Morgan Housel's Psychology of Money. They've read Run Up Wall Street, Peter Lynch. They've read The Intelligent Investor, Big Graham. They're getting the 15% interest rate. What are they going to get? It's the same contributions, 10,000 lump sum with 1,000 contributed every month to 2032, $284,100. And ladies and gentlemen, this is where I really stretch out the figure of time for you and really represent how much of a factor is time into this equation. So let's say we have our 50K a year earner who was effectively able to save $1,000 every year month, make the 10,000 initial lump sum investment, but we're going to stretch our time like that. We're going to go 30 years out. This would put me comfortably into my 50s. So yeah, just, you know, ask yourself, where would you be in 30 years? Is this something you could do? Could you initially invest 10K right now? Could you monthly contribute $1,000 for yourself? And, you know, on top of that, are you willing to, like, you know, read some of these books, do a lot of research, and, you know, wisen up yourself as an investor? Invest in assets that outpace index funds. You know, 30-year timeline, 15% compounded annualized interest rate. So in our 2050s, the year's 2050s, this person's well above $1 million. Well above $1 million. $5,879,059. Ladies and gentlemen, with a lot less income, we were able to do a lot more. Beloved poor guinea pig lady from our MarketWatch article at the beginning of the video, after she gets with her financial friend/family member, gets her finances straightened out, and she starts delving into that $90,000 that we were talking about. Next thing you know, and you know, she gets all her liabilities paid off, like her student loans. She got her cars paid off. She's in a different place in her life now. She's still working hard at her software/pharma/patient care surgery job. She's doing great now. She's in a whole different place financially, a whole different mindset. She read The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. She's doing great. Just for fun, this is our last example. This is very much the optimist. This is putting everything in. You know how to invest. You have the income. You're just really seeing what can compound interest do for yourself. You're watching the Zoomer Value Investor. You're doing everything you can. $90,000. She's going to be contributing about $8,000 a month. That's close to about that same $90K a month when you divide it up between the 12 months. I think that's realistic for her. You know, after she's like learned a lot with her type of income, I think $8K a month she could save it up. 30 years to retirement. What's she gonna rack in? She's gonna be doing them. Hey, if she's got 30 years in her to work her job and she's feeling like she could really, you know, be that expert and just grind out 30 years of service, what could she save up? What could she save up? Ladies and gentlemen, multi-millionaire. $47,694,593 for herself and for her family. Is quite an impressive career earning. Quite an outlier career earning by being a diligent investor, by working really hard, you know, earning your income. So I leave you there. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. I am the Zoomer Value Investor signing off. Take care. Have the rest of your day. Enjoy. Peace.